Okay, here we go. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by my trip to Texas and the napping? I was going to say I hadn't napped for a while, but I napped at the napping. So, I'm just going to continue. I'm looking at this. It's a pretty good material. It's a high-grade material. I'm back in Texas, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I went from like 55 degrees during the day to 75 degrees during the day. Sun's on my back right now. You can see a little bit of sun coming in. Hopefully it won't encroach too much. Anyway, I'm back in Texas for a little while. And usually I have good phone reception where I'm at. But the Wi-Fi's been down. Technical difficulties. My luck, right? So we'll see what happens. And my phone reception is not good here. The Wi-Fi was good last time. It was excellent. Yeah, but now the Wi-Fi is intermittent and sometimes non-existent. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, I do need my glove for this because I still need to do a lot of indirect percussion on this. I don't know what I said on the last video, but I need to do more indirect to thin this down. I'll probably regularize it first. Yeah, that's a good idea. I hear an echo. Hopefully that echo is not too bad. I'm in a space that has an echo. We'll see. So, what's today? Thursday? For me, it's Thursday. I don't know when I'm going to upload this video or when it will allow me to upload. So I have not napped since Sunday. So what is that? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 4 days. And you may not think 4 days is a long time, but for a flint napper, it's a long time. So I haven't napped in 4 days, so I may have forgotten how to pressure flake temporarily. Or I may not be at the top of my pressure flaking game right now. I'll have to adjust during the video. So let's see. Just preliminary shaping. Getting rid of any big lumps. Trying to make the edge a little bit more regular. It makes it easier to do the percussion strikes if I have a very good regular edge. I still do it. I still hit the edge randomly, but at least I'll have a little more regularity so that it's easier to thin. If it's all wonky, it's not really that easy to thin. It makes it more difficult to thin it down if it's all wonky. Yeah, I think I mentioned, I reviewed the video, the last video. I had a turtleback. I mentioned that I had a turtleback. And it is pretty lumpy in the middle, so. Even though it's a high-grade material, large lumps are not that easy to get rid of. Not that easy. So all of you are familiar with this type of flint napping with the pressure flaking. This is going to be taking up more and more of my videos, so get ready. I'll be doing a lot more of this type of pressure flaking. Very boring. Unless you like the clicking sound, then everything's okay. I know that if there's people in the background that are not into flint knapping and you're watching the clicking, they're going to say, "What's that? What are you watching?" It's just a tennis match on high speed, okay? Yeah. Just tell them it's a tennis match on high speed. So what did I do with the knapping? I made some points. I sold some points, and I broke a lot of points. If you look at the last auction, you can see how many broke some bifaces there were. Now, a lot of those were other people's, but most of them were mine, I think. I think I can say most. I broke at least 6 blades that were 5 inches or longer. And the one that I did complete that was longer than 5 inches ended up going into the broke some bifaces anyway because I didn't like it. Now I blame my fatigue driving in all those days, jet lag or whatever they call it, car lag. Anyway, that was disappointing because I wanted to take advantage of the fact that I had access to lots of big rocks. Get some of those blades out of the way. But nope, I was not able to knap any complete large blades. Just incompletes. Okay, so I've just got this set up now. There's the sun. All right, I got this set up to where I can hit the edge. It's a little bit more convex. Convexity. You don't want a real thin edge. You want it convex on both sides. And we're just going to hit this randomly to try to eliminate lumps. I usually thin down the ends first, then go for the middle. Although sometimes I forget about the base. I forget to thin this before I hit thin the middle, and then I end up hitting the base and snapping everything in half. So I got to make sure I remember to do the base and the tip, or the distal and the proximal end first, as far as thinning goes. Now you can do the base first as far as notching goes, and stemming, making the stem. They used to do it that way to prevent snapping, I imagine. But there are hazards in that too. If your blade's still thick and you've completed the stem and you're trying to thin down the blade, a lot of times these flakes will start encroaching into the stem area, and sometimes they'll overshoot or do something that you don't want. Step fracture right in the middle or something. But it's a trade-off. Depends on two things: the way you were taught and also what you've personally discovered on your own. Did it do it? Ooh, it almost did it. What was I looking for? Looking for a long flake to travel a little bit further, perhaps. Perhaps. But no such luck. Try again. Yes, but it's better if I get closer in. See, I have a lot of width, which is good. It allows me some options, but it's really lumpy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take back this edge and make it stronger. Taking it back means reducing it. And when you reduce it, instead of being this thin at the edge, it's this thick here. When I take it back about 1/8 of an inch, it'll be thicker, so I can run flakes more powerfully into that area. Right now I can run flakes into the area, but they're not going to be powerful flakes because a strong hit just crushes the edge right now. I need a better edge. So I take it back by chipping and then by grinding and dulling, and then I can drive a more powerful flake. For those of you who do not know. Okay. And all the tools I'm using are steel, except this one. It's aluminum. Well, if you consider the mallet a tool, this is plastic, ultra high molecular weight plastic. All these other tools are steel. Oh yeah, I do have a copper too. Where is it? Yeah, but you can tell that's copper. All right, this is steel. It's a steel nail. Big old spike nail. Yeah, just grind it down. I got a grinder or a belt sander. I grind it down on the belt sander so it has this shape. And yeah, I cut it. It's cut. So I can drive it in here and it's not going to be that long. Right. Do I need to show you how to make it? I don't think so. We're all experienced craftspeople, I think. And this is a pad, wood-backed leather with wood backing. This is poplar. This is vegetable tan leather. It's domed. And no, I don't make these yet. I will make them in the future. Every time I try to get set up for making these, I run out of time and I have to do my flint knapping. So I never get set up to finally get these offered for sale. But since we're all experienced craftspeople, all you gotta do is look at this for 5 seconds and you know how to make it. Yeah. Don't need to buy it. You can just make it. You already know. And if you're not an experienced craftsperson, you're just watching it for fun and giggles and tingles, don't worry about it. Yeah, no need to worry. What is this going to be? It is going to be a go with the flow point. GWF, go with flow. Go with the flow type point. GWF point. Oh, come on. It was wide. It was kind of thick, but not wide enough and not thick enough. Took a flake right there, direct attack, but it wasn't strong enough. The edge was strong enough, but I just didn't hit it hard enough. But I always err on the side of caution. Always. Even though I'm risking it, I'm always a little bit on the side of caution rather than risking way too much. I do risk, but I try not to risk too much. It's a delicate act, yes, I know. It's hard to teach, yes, I know. Hard to comprehend, yes, I know. See, I hit that really hard. That's one of the side effects of hitting hard. It's a crack in there. It's not good. It's not good. Try to get rid of it, a little bit of it. Can't have lots of crackings. So, it looks all right. I'm going to continue. Hit right there. That's all right. Didn't wipe out that little step fracture totally, but it reduced it somewhat. Okay. Yeah, I hit that really, really hard. Let's try hitting it really, really hard again. One final attempt. Yeah, that's the way I like it. That was a very wide flake. It was a deep flake, but it didn't go too far and didn't go too deep. And now we're getting down to a reasonable thinness. Still lumpy. I can probably attack it from the other side now. Have a reasonable chance of success at reducing it, but before I do that, I am going to thin down the tip. Right? Right. Because this process is dynamic. Now the middle is starting to get as thin as the ends. So now I got to go back to thin the ends again. The ends always have to be thinner than the middle. Always. Don't slack. And when I'm talking thinner, I mean way thinner. Not just a little bit thinner. Substantially thinner. And it's very easy to put a curve into the blade while doing this. You can actually install a curve. You don't want to do that, obviously. But if you do, sometimes it's not a big deal because you still got enough thickness that you can play around with the flaking and make up for it, or correct it, I should say. So I just took a few flakes. They didn't go all the way across. It kind of went to the middle, kind of a median ridge looking thing going on now. But I'm going to switch over to the other side and reduce some off the other side. One pass here, one pass there, turn it over, another pass. And hopefully it works out. Just random choosing of platforms or strong areas on the edge that I can strike. The platforms are not always looking the same way. I will hit anything that looks strong enough to receive the force. They're not all the same. If I were to tell you that there's a certain characteristic to a platform, I'd be lying. These platforms that I'm hitting are all different. No two are the same. And I don't make an effort to make them the same. They're all slightly different. They will yield slightly different results when you strike. Okay? I don't expect to have an exactly the same flake every time I strike. This is not like the flake over grind technique where you grind the stone perfectly so that every strike is identical or every pressure flake initiation is identical. All conditions are identical when you do flake over grind. Now I can do that type of flaking over grind with my indirect percussion flaker. I can grind it and then do indirect percussion over the grind. But usually it's pressure over grind. Pressure flaking. I know it says flake over grind, but it's usually pressure flake. over the grind. Not many people do the percussion. Although I do that. And I do percussion on slabs as well, where slabs are usually pressure flaked. Because they start out thin. Percussion usually snaps the slabs easily unless they're thick. And a lot of the vendors, a lot of the merchants of these slabs are getting smart. They're going, these are percussion slabs. When they're trying to sell slabs, they'll sell percussion slabs as well as regular slabs. And the percussion slabs are thicker. Oh yes. They know that you got to have thicker material for the shock imposed by most percussion. Indirect percussion is an exception because it allows you to remove large flakes with relatively small amounts of shock to the piece. It removes the flakes before it knows what's happening. I just saw a physics experiment on the internet, on the interzones, where the teacher was demonstrating kinetic energy or something like that. Anyway, he had a brick hung up by a string from a little platform. Just free hanging brick, right? So he tied another string to the brick so it would hang lower, a second string. And then on that second string, he put a little handle so where he could pull. So the brick now is between two strings strung up. The brick is in the middle. He pulls slowly, and he asks, where do you think the string is going to break? Low, middle, or high? He pulled very slowly. It snapped way up high, right near where I was connected to the platform above. So yeah, that was pretty easy. Well, he did it again. He retied everything again. And instead of pulling slowly, he jerked it real fast. And where do you think it broke? It broke right there where he had pulled it fast. Okay? Same thing with indirect percussion. Same concept. With indirect percussion, since it's fast, the forces are concentrated at the point of impact much more than if you were to slowly press on it like with a pressure flake. So it will remove that flake because of the initial shock only to that small area, instead of stressing the whole piece with a slow push. It stresses only the platform with a direct, fast hit, precise, fast hit. Okay, same concept. And it produces some remarkable results. I like showing the little steel remnants. See that little piece of steel right there? You shouldn't be able to do that, right? Yeah. The shock, it produces a lot of stress at the tip of the tool as well. Not just at the point of impact on the platform, but on the tool itself. So I go through tools fast. Probably wear these down faster than if I were using a pressure flaker. But the jury is out on that, because sometimes I think that it's wearing down faster and sometimes it's not wearing down faster. So I don't know. But anyway, I just showed you that little piece of steel deposited on there just for grins and giggles. See if it did it. Let's see. Ooh, it's close. Let me see. Did it delumpify it? It delumped it. Yes? Kinda, sorta. I still got a lump. But it's not too bad. Right? Right. Right. I don't know. Let's see. I gotta be careful. It's starting to get thin. I still need to hit it really, really hard. This is the make it or break it stage. Because once you get it thin enough, you just need to trim around the edges. And yeah, I'm sitting outside. There are planes going overhead. Ooh, I hit that super hard. Yeah, when I was at the Knapping, people are saying, I didn't realize you were hitting it that hard. Yeah, I'm really winding up on some of these. Oh, did it do it? I felt it. Let's look slowly. It's still not going too much past halfway. It needs to go more than that. It did kind of do it a little bit. Yeah. All right. I can't do too many of those hits because eventually physics will catch up to me and it will start figuring out what's happening to it. And it won't let me run these big old flakes anymore without the whole piece snapping. Now that's interesting. Narrow flake. I guess it ran that ridge. And this rock is not consistent all the way through. Some of it's kind of nasty. It's got little concrete-y type areas, but so far so good. I don't see any major issues. Damage control is not being difficult. Oh, that was a good one. Damage control is not being difficult. It's actually cooperating. And I'm getting some good results. That's the joy of using nice stone. That sometimes it will cooperate. Yep. Okay, so the edge is getting a little wonky. Sorry, I keep zooming in and out, back and forth. But yeah, the edge is a little bit wonky now after all those indirect percussion hits. So I got to regularize it. I gotta. And to see where I am, if I need to thin it out anymore, probably not. But if I do need to thin it out some more, I can do it after it's a little more regular and I can see what I got. So I want to zoom in. Sure. I will zoom in for you guys. For you guys who can't see. And for you guys who can see. Just because I can. And just because I like to zoom in. Yeah, I want to see what's going on too. I can look in the viewfinder and kind of see what's going on. I don't ever nap. Well, I can't say that. Never. I have been known to nap a couple times, take a strike off the edge, take a flake off the edge, or whatever it's called, while looking through the viewfinder, but that's not common. I only do that when I'm trying to explain it. Otherwise, I'm watching the screen and the point separately. Then my peripheral vision is getting pretty good. So I can see basically where I'm at in the viewfinder as I'm napping and looking at the edge here. I can use my peripheral to see if I'm still in the frame. All right. After years of doing this, and if I don't post enough for you guys, just look at my older videos. If you've already seen my 1,500 or so videos, 1,700, I don't know where I'm at. If you haven't seen all my 1,000 videos, if you get bored, you can go back and you can look at the progression or maybe regression on some things. I wasn't a perfect napper when I started making videos. Still not. Some of the earlier videos are actually more beneficial to newbies because I was not too far off from that. Not too far off from being a newbie in a lot of the original videos. And I didn't know the terminology or anything like that very well. All right, so I regularized it. I'm going to continue on the next segment, but I got the major issues corrected. The lump is out. The cracks along the edge are removed. Pretty much all I got to do now is notch it and do the final shaping. Okay.